They know him as Dracula, a name that still echoes with fear. To some, he is a vampire, a creature of myth that rises with the night. But behind the legend stands a real man, a prince of Wallachia, a ruler who bathed his land in blood, and earned his place as one of the most terrifying figures in history. This is the story of Vlad the Impaler, the real Dracula. He was born in 1431 in Transylvania, the son of Vlad Dracula, the dragon. From his father, he inherited a name tied to the secret order of the dragon, sworn to defend Christianity against the Ottoman Turks. But his childhood was no fairy tale. At just 11 years old, Vlad and his younger brother were taken as hostages by the Ottomans, bargaining chips to secure their father's loyalty. In captivity, he learned the art of war, but he also learned cruelty. He witnessed executions, torture, and the endless dance of power and betrayal. The boy who would become Dracula was forged in fire and fear. When he returned to Wallachia, it was not as a child, but as a hardened survivor. The throne was his birthright, but his land was torn apart by war, treachery, and invasion. Vlad knew one truth. To survive in such a world, mercy was weakness, and so he ruled not with kindness, but with terror. His signature became impalement. Enemies, criminals, even political rivals all met the stake. A sharpened pole driven through the body, raised high for all to see. Some victims writhed for hours, others for days. The forests around his castles grew into forests of the dead, thousands of corpses swaying like grotesque warnings to friend and foe alike. But Vlad's cruelty was not mindless. It was calculated. To peasants, he was harsh but fair, punishing thieves and liars with brutal justice. To invaders, he was a nightmare. When the Ottoman Empire sent an army to subdue him, they found an entire valley filled with 20,000 impaled bodies. Soldiers turned pale, morale shattered, and even the mighty Sultan himself was said to recoil at the sight. Vlad had turned death into a weapon. Yet his cruelty reached beyond war. There are whispers of feasts held among the dying, of Vlad dining at a wooden table while impaled victims writhed on stakes around him, their screams becoming the music of his banquets. Some called it madness, others called it genius, but all agreed it was unforgettable. The people of Wallachia lived in both fear and admiration. For while his punishments were savage, crime almost vanished from his lands. Merchants could travel without fear of robbery. Peasants could sleep, knowing thieves would meet a gruesome end. To his subjects, Vlad was both protector and tyrant, savior and monster. But his enemies never forgot his cruelty. German pamphlets and stories painted him as a devil in human flesh, spreading tales of his bloodlust across Europe. It was from these stories that Bram Stoker, centuries later, would draw the inspiration for his immortal vampire, Count Dracula. In truth, Vlad needed no fangs, no coffin, no curse of the night. His thirst was not for blood alone, but for power, for fear. And in fear, he was unmatched. By 1476, his reign ended in violence. Vlad was betrayed, ambushed, and killed in battle. His head, severed, was sent to the Ottoman Sultan as proof of his death. But legends say his soul never left his castle, that the stones of Wallachia still whisper his name when the wind howls at night. Dracula. Not a myth, not a monster of fiction, but a man, a prince, a ruler whose cruelty burned so deep into history that even death could not silence his legend. Vlad the Impaler, the real Dracula.